Okay, guys. So what I want you to do is I want you to create a folder named training jobs. Okay. So how you do it? Just go to the job design, create folder. Okay. You click on this and you give the folder, whatever you want to do. So I have training jobs, right? So same way you just have to give here and just say finish. Once you do that, a folder will be created. For beginning, the folder will be empty, right? So you just have to start creating jobs inside it. Now, if you want to create a job inside it, you will have to click on this and then right click and say create job. Okay, so on that folder, you will right click and say create job. Okay, so just click again, what is the name of the job? Like this. So you cannot have two jobs with same names, guys. Okay, that's one another problem. So I'll now give the job name as extract data from file. Right, I have a different okay, this exact name is already there somewhere. Okay, uh, so I'll just add B. So whatever the name, right? If the name, exact name already exists somewhere, right? It shows me that it is not possible, okay, to create that. I hope everyone saw that error. You saw this, right? See, this is already existing. That's why it's saying that this item already exists. So you have to just change it. Maybe I can just give here one. If I add that one, right, then also it will work. Okay. Then the purpose and description, as I told you yesterday, if you want to keep it, you can keep it. If you don't want to, you don't need. Okay. So right now I'll just go ahead quickly and I won't have it. So once I create the job, then everything else will start opening up, right? So what we are going to do today is we are going to read the data from files. So we are going to do it from two types of files. First would be the delimited file, as we did in our demo class, and then we will do it from an Excel. Okay, so we are going to read the data from both of these. So I mean, just a quick intro of things now. Okay, so let's say this is today's class, right? So on today's class, what we are going to learn is, so everyone, as I told you, right, there are three stages. So first is extract. After extract, what you do transform, and then what you do finally is load. Correct? This is what ETL is. Correct? So extract can happen from files, right? And also from database. Everyone agrees to this? Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Extract means pulling the data that can happen from files and database both, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir. We can extract your data from multiple sources, sir.
Correct. So multiple sources in this case would be multiple types of files or
Yes.
multiple different databases, right? So what we are going to learn today is this piece. We are going to read the data from the major and the most commonly used format, that is a delimited file and an Excel. Okay, so these two we are going to cover today. So we'll extract the data from there, right? And then we will go to transformation. Then again, we will come to extract from database, and then we will do finally load in file and okay, because the load can also happen on both the places, right? You can load the data into a file or into a database, right? Both is possible. We will do both the things. So these are all the steps that we are going to perform in like next 2-3 days. Okay. The basic ETL structure we are going to learn, and then we are going to learn some extra components that can help us to do automations and everything. Okay. So that's how your classes are going to be. So I mean, it's designed in such a way that you understand first like what is ETL. Okay. So let's get started with extract first. So for extraction, right, you need to get the data. So let's take this as a file, right? So this is my input file. So if you see this again, right, you will be able to see that this is my first column, second column, third column, and fourth column. Okay. So one quick thing before this, right, I've just written that down. So first of all, you need to understand what is a row, right? This is a row, guys. Okay. The horizontal line is nothing but a row. Okay. This is, let's say, first row. This is second row. This is third row, fourth row, fifth row, right? And this is nothing but a column. Okay. This is first column, second column, third column, right? Many of the people, you will have confusion what is column and what is row. Like I give a very simple example. So in the spelling of column, right, you have L, right? So just remember that L. That L looks like a vertical line, right? That means this is a column. Everyone will remember that now forever. Yes or no? The column is nothing but the vertical one, and row is nothing but the horizontal. Is that clear? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then one single thing is nothing but a field or a cell. You call that as a cell or a field. In Excel, you call it as a cell. In normal terms, you call it as a field. Okay. So now same thing happens for this also. So this is nothing but a row. Okay. This is the row. But now if I talk in terms of first name, Ajay, Ayush, Sneha, Mohammed, Satish and Asha. This is nothing but a column. Everyone with me till here? Did you understand what is a row and what is a column? Yes or no?
Yes, understood.
Everyone, can you say yes or no, please? So this is nothing but your
Yes.
column. Okay. And this here is nothing but your row. Okay. Clear? Always remember in column spelling, you have that L. So that L is how it is going to be. Okay. If even if at all, like anywhere, you get some confusion, right? That's how you remember it. Okay. So now this is what it is. Fine. Now let's understand this data. Okay, so here one column, second column, third column, fourth column. How do I come to know? Because I have the same delimiter. This is called a delimiter, guys. Okay, that's why this type of file is called a delimited file. So it is nothing but column separator, okay, or field separator. This thing. Okay, so this is separating two columns. So Ajay and Kumar, these are two different columns, right? What is separating them? This particular pipe. This symbol is called pipe, but it could be anything. This file could be like this also. So if I just replace all the pipes with, let's say, comma, right? If I just make this as a file, then this is also a delimited file. Okay, so it is a comma delimited. If I replace it with pipe, it becomes pipe delimited. Right? If I replace it with a semicolon, so it becomes semicolon separated. Okay, semicolon separated, semicolon delimited. So everyone understanding this, right? Like this could be anything, but you need to understand that, okay, this is the delimiter. Clear everyone till here? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Many of the cases, by default, you are going to get either pipe as a delimiter or semicolon as a delimiter. Okay. Now there are few files which are called CSV. CSV is nothing but comma separated values. So that is also nothing but when you, instead of this pipe, right, you will have comma there. So that type of file called as a CSV file. Okay. There are PSV files also, that is nothing but pipe separated file. So this file is nothing but a PSV because it is separated by pipe. Okay. Now let's come back to Talend and understand this components. So this is now what file system. I have to extract the data. That means I have to input the data from, and then there is this component called delimited, right? So delimited. So this is my component that I need. Okay, this is the first way to do it, or the second way is just if I start typing, right? So delimited. If I just do that, right, it will give me all the components which have something related to delimited inside. So I can just double click and get that component. Okay. Just quick observation here, guys. You will see that each component is also numbered. This is 1, this is 2. Okay. So you have to take care of what it is. So it could be anything, right? You can use 2 component number also. Let's say if I pull this, right, and if I delete it, that is also fine. There is no problem that you should have to use first only and then second only. Okay. That's not the case. Right. So let's get into this component now, and then let's try to understand what we really have to do. Okay. So as you click outside, the component becomes empty. This section, you have to click on this icon, the icon of each and every component, then only you will be able to see things. Okay. So now this file, right? This file is stored where? It is in C Talend input. right? So we need to give that path. So here, first option is for the path. I'll go ahead and I'll find my path. So I'll go to talent. I'll go to my input. So as I told you guys, always create your folders properly, right? So these are my folders. So this is the input file that I just changed at 749. So this is my file. I'll give that and just say open. Okay. So this is the file that I need. Clear till here, guys? Yes or no? This is all fill in the blanks, guys. Now, is it clear for everyone? This piece? And I say
It's
yes, no.
clear, sir.
Yes.
Fine. Then comes the row separator. So row separator means what? So as I explained you, right? This is one row. This is second row, right? Now, if you see between these two rows, what is the separator? This enter key, right? You basically press enter to go to the new row, correct? That's what you do. So that enter key is nothing but a new row character or next line character. Okay. So this /n is Java's way of telling that it is a next line character. Okay. So always remember that it is going to be by default /n, and then that's how it is going to be. Like in around 99.99% of the cases, right, you are going to have next line character as /n. Okay. So you don't have to ever change it, right? This is nothing but the row separator. Okay. So that's what you are going to keep here. Then comes the field separators. Field is nothing but like this is one field, this is second field, right? So one cell value, right? So this cell is separated by this cell by what? By a 5. So in our case, what is it delimited? It is 5 delimited. Okay. So that 5 is what we are going to give here. So if you see here, field separator, instead of this semicolon, right, which comes by default, I am going to give 5. Now, where is the pipe on the keyboard? Pipe is just above the enter key. Okay, below the backspace key, above the enter key on your keyboard. If you are not able to find that, right, you can try to find it there. Okay, now comes the header. So header options. So do you have header in this file? Yes, I have header, right? This is my header, right? This is not my data. Is this my data, guys? No, right? This is my data. So Ajay is a person, Ayush is a person, like all these are person, right? So this is actually my data. First name is not a person, right? It's just the header name. So I have one row as the header, so that's why I have to give here the first row as the header. Let's say if my file is like this, right? Then what happens? Fourth row is my header. So I'll have to give here 4. Everyone understanding that, please? Yes or
Yes.
no? Yes. Right now in my file, I don't have footer, and in 99% of the files, you are never going to have footer. So we will just keep footer as 0, whatever it is by default. We are not going to change it. Okay. Now comes the limit section. So limit does what? Let's say I only want 3 rows in my output. So what I can do, I can give a limit of 3 here. If I give a limit of 3, it is only going to give me 3 rows. So whatever limit you give here, right, it is going to help you to get only those particular rows. Clear, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So now we have told, okay, this is the header, this is the limit, this is the delimiter, and this is the separator. So all those things are given. Now, all that is needed to give is the column names, right? What are the column names? So for where we give that, it is called schema. Okay. So in schema, we give all those things. So this is the option to edit and give the schema. Okay. So now, how many columns I have? I have 4 columns. I'll just click on all those, and I'll start putting the column names. This is the first name. This is last name. This is department. And this is salary. Okay. Clear? So again, right, the data types. So I'll give you a link for all the data types that are out there. Okay. You can read through that. But for now, whatever comes, right, whatever data types comes, I'll keep teaching you that. Okay. So as I told you on the demo class also, right, whatever has a decimal point, right? If you see this column has a decimal point, right? It has a number, and then this decimal point also. So in such scenarios, we are always going to use either double or float. So the easy way to remember it, if it is a decimal point, the data type is going to be double. Is that wording or understanding clear, guys? Right? See, guys, I try to make it easy for you so that you don't get into like very technical, but you still try to remember and understand things. Okay. So that's why decimal points is nothing but a number which has a dot in it, right? This is a decimal number, right? And for reading decimal numbers, the data type that we need is double. Clear? D for decimal, D for double. Everyone, will you remember this?
Yes. I have one question. Like,
Yeah.
There's only 4 columns. Like, for example, like one file has more than 100 columns. So you will enter
I'll come to
manually
that.
then.
There
Okay.
is an option to do it without manually also. I'll come to that after this. So
All
first
right.
you have to learn all the difficult pieces, then you will learn some types of automations also. So that metadata piece I'm going to teach today itself. That will come after this. Okay. Yep. So this is what you have then here. Okay. So these are all your columns. So now you can click on OK, and all the details that you had to fill here, right, are done. Okay. Now, since we are just doing the extract class, right? So we are going to again use that component called tlogro, which is just going to print our output in the console. So when I run my job, right, it is going to show me the data in the output directly here. That means it is able to extract it, but we are not loading it anywhere. We are just showing it on the screen. Okay. So we are going to see for this class, the motive is to extract the data, right? So we are able to extract this data, and to show you as a proof, we will put it on the screen, right? We will put it on the run console. So how to connect these two? So you are going to right click, row and main connection. Main connection is used to send your data. Okay. In like after 3-4 days, right? I'm going to have a class with you just related to what are these attachments. Okay. So row attachment, iterate attachment, right? On subjob okay, on subjob error, on component okay, on component error, if conditions, all those I'm going to teach you in that particular class. I have a PPT for that and I'll show you all of it. Okay. But for today, just understand when the rows need to transfer, right? From this side to this side, then we are going to use the main connection, which is also called as a row connection. Is that clear? So how to get this? You just click over here, right click, row, main, and click on this. Okay. Now coming to the output components, it becomes easy. You just have to sync columns to the columns, right? Whatever you had on the input side, the same will go into your output side, because then only it will come and show up on the screen. Okay. Now in this tlog row, you have these 3 options. So basic option means it will just show you as is. If you put it in a table view, it might show you a bit better. So we always try to use the table view so that it looks a bit better. That's it, nothing else. Okay. So now I have saved this file, right? Your input file should be saved and then you can just run the job. If you run the job, it will read the data from this file and print the output on your run window here. So if you see, this is my output. Now again, right, for some people, it will look a bit distorted, right? It's not in that straight line and all. So what you do is just click on this debug run. So once you click on this debug run, you saw, right, like how it changed its shape. But then when I go back to basic run, it is going to now screw up things maybe. But yeah, I mean, if that happens, right, you just close this and reset your this. So basically what you do is just close this and then reset your perspective. Right, once you do that, it will come back to normal. Okay, this might happen that you might get a line here, right? This thing gets dragged sometimes, but whatever it is, right, now you're able to see the data. Now you're able to see only 3 records. Why, guys? In my file, I had more records. Yes. Why did we get 3? Because we put the limit as 3 here, right? We put this limit, right, to take only 3 records. If I remove this limit and if I run the same job again, right, I'll get all the records that I have in my input side. So if you see 6 records were there, all the 6 I have received in my output. Is this piece clear for everyone? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, clear, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's say if I ask you a question that I want only these 3 records in the output, what should I do? Can anyone tell me? I need only these 3 records in the output. What should I do?
I think you can use filter.
Filter, okay, yes, in future, but today I have not taught you the filter. You can do it with just this component.
Okay.
By using the header, footer, and limit, you can do that. Just think on how you are going to do it. So this is now the application side
I
of
mean,
things,
in the
guys.
limit, we need to give the range. I mean, 1, 2, 3. I mean, in the
Actually, we
6
need to skip the
no.
rows,
is
right,
there,
sir?
na?
No, so in limit, you can give only 1 letter. That is
You
going
can
to be
skip
the
one
number of
row.
rows that you.
Then in the header, and mean in the header, we need to give the starting number, and the limit, we need to give the last.
Correct, exactly. So here you can say, see, when I say tell you that, okay, this row is the header, right? What Talent does is it actually skips everything above that. Okay, Talent is not reading this data at all, right? When we gave 4 as the header, that means it's not reading this at all. Above everything, it's just skipping it. Right. So same way, if I want to just start from here, what I can say that my 5th row is the header. Right. So if I say that my 5th row is the header, it will not read anything till the 5th row. Right. I want only what? Only these 3 records, right? So I'll take now my data will start reading from 6th row, right? Because I've given 5th row as the header. And then I want how many? Only 3 rows, right? So I can give limit as 3. If I do this and run the job, right, then I will be able to get the output. So these type of questions, guys, are something that they are going to ask you in your interview. See, Ayush, Neha, and Mohammed, right? You got what you exactly wanted. Okay. So these are all the things that you need to understand and use your head. Okay. So people will teach you this component. But then this is something that they will ask you in the interview. And then people get you getting it, right? You're getting the flavor of how the questions are going to be in interview. No one is directly going to ask you guys like what does the T file input delimited do? Okay, no one. I mean that's the easiest thing to ask, right? What they will do is okay, I have this type of data and I want only rows starting from 4th till 5th column. How are you going to do it? That's the question. Okay. Sorry, 4th to 5th row, guys, not column. Okay. Is it clear, guys, everyone? This piece? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, clear, sir. Actually, I have one question. Talent
Yeah,
is
go
case
ahead.
sensitive or not?
Sorry.
Talent is case sensitive, right?
Talent is case sensitive. I mean, it depends what you're trying to say. Okay, so here it does not matter. Like I can give anything, right? The name here I can give anything. It's not a problem at all. Let's say if I give this name, right? In my file, it was like first underscore name, and here I am giving first name. So it's really fine, no problem at all. But right, when we go and create tables, then these kind of things cause problem. If you give capital letter, it will create the table in capital letter. Okay, which is not the best practice. So always we try to give lower letter cases everywhere. Okay, but it's not like it's case sensitive or insensitive because you're not giving anything related to case here. Getting my point?
Yes,
Right,
yes, sir.
just within talent, it does not matter. You just need to give it in double quotes. That's it. All the numbers will be without double quotes. All the string data type, right? String, anything that is a number, name, sorry, name and text, that is going to be in double quotes. Okay. Does that answer your question? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay. Cool. So this was related to a delimited file. Okay. Now let's move on to Excel and then I'll teach you the other part of it. Okay. So let's come to Excel now. So what we have again is this Excel, right? So let's go to this Excel. So in this Excel, I have this data, right? Again, I have 4 different columns, right? And I want to read that data. Okay. So in Excel component, if you see, right, there are few things which are same, but there are few things which are different. Okay. And also guys, what I've done with this, right, I've just deactivated it. So what you can do is you can select this like a PPT, right? Just select it and you can activate it or deactivate it. Okay. You can select all the components that you want to like this, and then you can deactivate them. So deactivate means if I now run the job also, right, this components are not going to run. That means I'm not going to get anything from them. Okay. So now the only active component right now is this. Okay. So we'll set this component up. Okay. So now we are going to do what? We are going to read the data from our Excel file. Okay. So again, what we have to do for the Excel file, we will have to first find that Excel file. So my Excel file is this. This is my Excel file which I saved at 735. Okay. So I created that. So see guys, I only create this data. Okay. I put these names myself here. Okay. You also do the same thing. No one is going to provide you this type of data. You just create anything that you want. Okay. You just have to load yourself. Fine. So this is the data. This is the file that I am going to use. And then I'm going to say open. Okay. Now when I open it, right? So this file is what format? Excel SX, right? When you just choose the file, right? It automatically comes as Excel SX. So if it is an Excel SX, right? You have to click on this because this is for Excel SX. If you don't click on this and you give here an Excel SX file, right? It will throw an error at the end. I'll show you. Okay. If you don't take care of these, right? Both the versions should be same. Everyone understanding that? Right? If you see here in your file, if there is an Excel SX, you will have to click on this. Okay. Now coming to Excel, right? There are few things different because in Excel you have sheets, right? In your normal delimited component, you did not have that option, right? But in your Excel, you have sheets. Because if you see this Excel, you have sheet 1, sheet 4, sheet 3, right? You have different sheets. So you want to read the data from this sheet, right? Which is sheet 1. So you will have to give that sheet name, exact sheet name. So let's say I change it, I'll make it as employee, right? This is my employee sheet. Okay. So this is now my sheet name. So you have to give that sheet name exactly here. So you will have to add plus, and then here you will have to give that exact name, whatever you have given here. So my sheet name is EMP. That's the exact same sheet name here. Okay. Then only Talent will able to read it. If you change this right now, let's say this is now, this will become case sensitive, guys. Okay. So you have to give it exactly as it is. Okay. So you have to give that exact sheet name. If you don't give that sheet name, and if you want like you should read from all the sheets, let's say you have only one sheet in the file, right? Then you can just click directly on this sheet. Okay. Now there is one more different way of giving it, like this position of the sheet is first, right? So you can give one also here. You can just remove this and give here one. Okay, because if you see right here, it tells you name or position. You can give anything here. So one means this is the first position. This is the second position, right? So for this, you can give two. Okay. So in sometimes, right, what happens, the client, they keep changing this name, the sheet name. But they fix that, okay, the first sheet will always be the position of that file. So instead of giving the name, right, we give one here. Everyone understanding this piece of name or position? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So for now, I'll just show you with the sheet name, and then later on we will go ahead and do the position. Okay. So this is done here. Now again, coming back to the same points that we had in our delimited also. So do you have header in this? Yes, you have header. The first row is the header. So I can just give here first row is the header. Do I have footer? No. Do I want to put limit? Right now, I don't want to. Okay. Now in this, right, you will see there is a first column and last column option also. So see, this was not there in the delimited file because in the delimited file, right, whatever is starting, that is your first column. Correct. I mean, this is going to be your first column, however it is. But in Excel, what you can do is you can have a file like this also, right? Where these columns are not your first columns. This is your first column. You're getting the point, guys. right? In Excel, there are few things which are extra. Why? Because the Excel is created that way. So if you want to skip these all columns, right? Then you can say the first column is nothing but the fifth position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this file, when we want to read it, we will give 5 as the first column position. Okay. In this file right now, which we are trying to read, the first column is the first position, right? Because this is starting from here. So I'll just give here 1 for now, and then we will try with the other 5. Okay. So for now, I'll just give here 1. The first column is the first position. Now what is left is the schema. So what I have to give here in the schema, guys? What should I give here? Come on, now you should know that. What should I give in the schema?
You can press the plus.
Okay, and
one more. And we have a 4 columns, right? So you can give 4 times.
correct. So basically, whatever number of columns you have, that you are going to give. So you have employee department ID, employee department ID, department, and that's it. Okay. Now you have to give the data type. If you see, this is a number. It is a normal number, right? It does not have a decimal pointer in it. So these type of numbers are called integers, guys. So it is not a string, it is integer. Integer means whole number. The department ID and employee ID both are integers. Employee name and department name, they are string. Okay. So now this is the correct data type that we have given. So integer means a complete whole number. When you don't see a decimal point anywhere, right? That means it is an integer. Okay, guys. Now this is a whole number, right? So whole numbers are nothing but integers. Okay, so this is how you give this. So all the settings that we need to do are done. Okay, the extraction piece is sorted. Now all I need to do is just put the data in the console. So I'll use the log row. Here again, I'll use the table view so that it looks better in the output. And I'll connect this main and connect it here. Okay, so inside this, I'll just do sync columns so that I get all the columns that are there in my input to the output. Okay, and now when I run this job, once again, let me just save this file. If I change anything, always save the files before you run, because sometimes you change something and then you don't save the file. Okay, so I had 11 rows in my data and all the 11 have been read by my file. Right, I had 11, right? All the 11 rows are there. Clear, everyone here? Anyone any doubt in this?
No.
No. So again, one more question. Yeah, go ahead. Someone
Excuse me,
had a doubt.
Teki. Yeah, in the before thing, I mean, before example, we have gone with the header and the limit. So if you have a like 20 number of rows in a sheet, then how can we give the limit? You said that only one value need to be given in the limit. So if you give 20 over there, it will be accept in the before
Yes,
example.
yes. Yeah. One number is important. So let's say, okay, if I come here, right? If I say that I want top 10 rows, or not top 10, I want 10 rows. Okay, 10 rows. Limit
Okay.
works like how many rows you want. So yes, you can give here 10. What I meant was you can give here only one number, not like 10, 20. That is not possible. That is what I meant. Okay, it's not like you can give only one single digit number. No, you can give
Okay, Teki.
100, 200, 2000, whatever. But it should be only one number, not like a combination of two numbers. That was
Okay,
my
Teki. Okay. Okay, fine.
So let's say if I do 10 here, right? This will also work. Or in Excel also you can make that happen. So now it will give me 10 rows in the output. I have 11 actually, but it will give me 10. So if you see, I got only till 10 and 10 rows were red. You actually see how many rows are red here also. So this time it gave me 10.
Okay, Teki. It's done.
So I think you answered, right? That you can give 4,
Yes, I have
6, something
answered,
like
but
that. So
after
that's
that
not
you have
possible.
been given me answer that there is only one value need to be given. So I was thinking only value.
Okay, good that you
How?
cleared that out. Yes, good that you
Yeah,
cleared that
exactly.
out. So what we do is we do these in a combination. So let's say if I do this, right? If I want, let's say this in the output, only this much. Okay. So if
Yeah,
I want
yeah,
only this much in the output, so what I will do, I cannot give 4,9 in my limit. So what I will
yes,
do is I'll make third row, right? This row, sorry, fourth row basically, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So till fourth, I'll make it as a header. Let's say I want only this data in my output. Okay, I'll just color it as. So if I want this in my output, what I have to do is, first of all, I have to make till here the header, that is my fourth position, right? This is my fourth position. So what I'll give here header as 4. And then how much data I want? I want these many rows, which is nothing but 6. So I want 6 rows. So that I'll give there. So once I do that, then I'm going to get the output that I need. So you play around with that combination. Okay. So now if you see, right, Altaf till Kamal, you got that in the output.
yes, sir. It is fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So I hope this is clear for everyone. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes. So now let's play around with this file. Okay. So now let's say this is my file. Right. So I'll again quickly take one more Excel just for you to understand that piece also, like how to write these type of files. So again, it's now the column position piece. Okay. So again, you come here. Again, I've deactivated that other piece of job base, so that because I don't want it. Again, I'll again take employee. And let's say if I make a mistake of right now not giving this XLSX, okay, I'll make that mistake. So again, now instead of all sheet, I'll take the second position base because now I want to read the data from the second file, right? This is first sheet, this is second sheet. Now here, right, my first column, sorry. So my first column position here is what? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Fifth. So I have to actually give that
Me too.
position. So first column position should be fifth. What is my header, guys, here? Can you tell me which row is my header?
Second.
Correct. So
Second.
second row is my header, so I have to give here 2, right? And then if I go to limit and all those things that I don't need, last column also right now I don't need because I can give the column name here. So right now, how many columns I have? I think I have only 3 columns. So I'll take employee ID, employee name, and employee department ID. Okay. So right now, both of these are integers, right? So I'll give them as integers. Okay. And that's it. So this job is set. This component is set. I can just go here and give this again in the table view format so that it looks better. So main and connect. Now this time I've made one mistake purposely, guys. This is an XLSX and I'm not reading it that way. So let's see if it throws an error. Many times Talent keeps on updating few things, right? So you kind of sometimes don't get those errors, but yeah, right now see it's telling me that it's not able to recognize the stream. Okay, it won't tell you exactly the error is because of that. Okay, you will get something like this. So always make sure that you take care of these little things. This is very important. This is XLSX, so you should click on this, then only it will be able to read that. I won't change anything in the job. I will just run the job and it will run fine. Okay, guys. So those little things also matter. Wait a second, what happened? For input cell. Second, what did we do wrong? 2, sheet 2, input schema. For input string cell. Where did I give cell here? It is a cell. Okay, 1 second. Let me give the exact sheet name once and try. I give you the sheet name. My sheet name is sheet 4. Okay, the things are correct, right? This is the fifth position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's correct. 5 and second is the header. That is also correct. Let's try and run this again. Confirm it got 18 rows. Okay. So something is wrong with the position, guys. Not sure why it did not work for the position, but maybe it's reading some different file altogether. Okay, I think it's reading this file. Okay. By some chance, right? When I gave second position, it's reading this. That's why it's coming this and saying that, okay, this is the wrong data, right? That's what the cell that we were getting. Okay. So maybe something with the position side, it's not right. So that's why it did not work. But when I gave the sheet 4, right, exactly, everything else was correct. So that's why now it works. Let me just one more thing. Let me try this. I think it starts from 0, 1, 2. Let me just run this. If it works for the 1. Okay. Yeah. So the problem actually was my bad, guys. So you actually, when you say, right, this Excel, this is your 0th position. Okay. So it starts from 0. This is 1, this is 2. Okay. It goes like that 0, 1, and 2. Are you getting it, guys? This is the 0th position. This is the first position. And then this is the second position. Did you get it? Yes or no?
Yeah, clear, Tyagi.
Okay, so always remember, I mean, I also keep on forgetting that, but yeah, this is the 0th position, this is the first, and this is the second. Okay,
It will start from 0, right?
yes, it is like an array, so it will start from 0 always. Okay, so you can give that as the position, or you can just give the exact name if at all you ever have confusion, right? That's the easiest way to do it. Now you understand, right? If your file is in this format also, you will be able to read that file. Okay. Is this piece clear for everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, Sagi.
Okay, cool. Now let's come back to the point that Mirza had, right? So let's say you have a file where you have 10, 20 columns, right? Let's say even 100 columns for that matter. You might have worked in some project where you will have 100 columns. So you are not going to go and put plus, 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 and then add all the columns, right? That's not the good way of doing it, right? So what we have an option of metadata. Okay, so this section that you see here, right, in your job on the repository side, you will have something called metadata. Okay, so in metadata, you can create file details directly. Okay, so you can give the file to it, and Talend will on its own try to understand the file, and then it will try to give you the row that you have as the header, right? The main thing is in your file, you should have a header. That's the only clause. So if you in your file have the header row, Talend will just try to take that file and read that as the column names. Okay, so I'll quickly show you how that is done. So let's say first we will do it for file delimited. Okay, there are many files which I already have. I'll just create one more. So create file. I'll give it, let's say, emp. Okay, and I'll go next. Now here you're going to give the path of the file. So when I click on this, right, see, in my input folder, it shows only one file, but this is not my file, right? I want employee.txt. This is showing me emp file, which is not the correct one. So I'll go here and I'll have to click on start. So once I do that, right, I will be able to see all the files. Okay, and this is the file that I want. So by default, it will show you only the CSV files. But if you want to take any other file, right, text file or any other file, you will have to come here and click on this star, or else you won't be able to find it. Okay, so just click on this now, say open. So you will see that, okay, this is the data in this file. Then you will go next. Now here, right, you will have to give all the settings visible. So what is your field separator? In your file, the field separator is what? Is it semicolon? Is it comma? Is it tab? Is it space? No, right? Nothing of this. So what you are going to do, you are going to use custom ANSI or custom UTF-8. You can choose any one of them, right? And then you are going to give it here yourself. If it is semicolon or any of these options, you can directly choose that. Let's say if in your file, right, your file was semicolon delimited, you can directly choose semicolon. Okay, that's also fine. But right now, in our case, we have it as a 5 delimited. So I will use this custom UTF-8 or custom ANSI, anyone, and I can give that proper delimiter. Clear till here, guys?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, row separator is standard end of line. Okay, end of line, next line character, new line character, whatever you want to say, it is same. So we don't want to change it right now. Okay, that's it. Now in my file, do I have header? Yes, I have header, right? So what we can do is we can directly give here, right? Here the header row. Which one is my header row? So here, if I come back now, so fourth row is my header row, correct? So I'll have to give here 4. Okay. And now I can refresh my preview. So if you see my preview, right now it's showing me the data like this. So once I refresh it now, it will show me the new preview. So everyone, can you see the new preview? See, it has put columns properly, right? Yes or no? Guys, did you understand this? See, earlier it was like this, right? Earlier it was showing me everything in one column, correct? See, now if you see, right, everything is in one column. Why? Because we did not give proper field separator. Now, once we give everything properly, right, it is now able to read our file properly. Right, when I give this, it is able to now split my data properly into different column structure. Yes or no? Guys, are you
Yeah.
getting this or no?
Raji,
Yes.
instead of type, we can use any other field separator.
Yes, but that should be the same in your file. In my file right now, I had a pipe. That's why I had to give here pipe. Simple as that. But yes, you can choose any delimiter in your files, but actually you don't create the files, right? So you're not going to choose that. It's your client who's going to choose and give you the file in that format.
Oh,
You just have to
okay.
use that,
Okay.
right? You are not going to create the file, right? Who is creating the file? They are going to choose the format. Okay. Now, if you see here, guys, still you're getting the column as column 0, column 1, column 2, column 3. I don't want this. What I want is whatever is written here, right? That I want as my column. So what you can do is you can use set heading row as column. When you click on this, right? But if you see, right, this number increases when you click on that. So make sure that you don't do that mistake. So now fourth row is that column. Here you have clicked on this. And once you now refresh, right, it is going to give me first name, last name, department, and salary as my header. So this is now my header, and this is the data that you see here. So this is just some samples that it is showing. Okay. Now, if I go and do next, right, what Talent has done is Talent has already created the list of columns for me. So let's say, Mirza, to your point, right, if you had 100 rows, sorry, 100 columns, it will generate the list of all the 100 columns for you. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
you
got
don't
it.
have
Thank
to
you.
do that effort now. Okay. But there are few other things that you still have to make sure that they are correct, because this is just Talent's guess of doing things, right? It is just guessing things, guys. Okay. For the schema. So you have to make sure that the data types are correct. You have to make sure that the length is correct, right? Because it just takes like top 50 rows or top 10 rows and just it decides based on that. So let's say in top 10 rows, your first name maximum length is 8. It will give you the 8 length. But then let's say in your 500 row, right, you have some name which is bigger than that. So it will start failing. So always you have to make sure that you have to give proper length to each and every column. Even if you have 100 columns, you will have to do that for 100 columns. Okay, that's something that you cannot avoid. That piece clear, guys? So this is, yes, a shortcut trick. It is, yes, a good trick to use, but still you will have to verify whatever is being done there. Okay, you can give here now the other metadata, let's say EMP I want to, and then I can just say finish. So if I just say finish, right? So this EMP gets created here. Now what I can do is I can drag this and drop it here in my job, and I can use that as a file input delimited component. So if I use that, right, it will be pre-filled. If you see, right, everything is pre-filled here, right? The header is pre-filled, right? The delimiter is pre-filled, the file name is pre-filled, everything is pre-filled. So let's say if you put a normal component, the normal component would look like this. Okay, it will have the options called built-in. Built-in means you can change things right away. I can click and change anything anywhere. But if you see this, this will be in repository format because it is coming from the repository section, guys. This is the repository, right? Metadata comes under repository only. So that's why you see here repository. So now actually I cannot change it. If I have to click and change it, right, it will change, ask me to change in the repository. I mean, either update the repository or change it to built-in and then change it. If I change it to built-in and click OK, then I will be able to change everything. Okay. So that's the difference between a built-in and a repository mode. So in repository, everything is pre-filled and fixed based on what you have done when you were creating that, right? We did all the settings here. Yes or no? So when we did all the settings, those settings got saved, guys. Okay. So now what I can do is this component is already set. I just need atlog row here, and this makes it reusable, guys. That's the other advantage of using the metadata. So every time going forward, you are going to use metadata only. Okay, that's the best practice. You are not going to do it manually. So now if I run this right, it is going to give me the data. Okay. Did I have to do anything here? Any setting did I do in this, guys? No, right? Because it was already done. Is it clear for everyone?
Yeah.
Anyone, any questions here, guys? Did you understand the difference between repository and built-in? Yes or no, guys? What is repository? What is built-in?
Tyagi. Actually, repository means we won't give our values. We don't want to give our values again and again, right?
Correct. So repository means you have stored your values in this metadata section already, and then you are going to reuse that again and again. If you still want, you can change it, but then you either need to update your repository or make a change by changing it to built-in. So let's know if I see the schema, right? If I just want to view the schema, I'll view it like this, but I cannot change the name right now. It won't allow me to change the name. Okay. So if I have to change the name, I'll have to change it to built-in. And once I change it to built-in, then I am allowed to change the name. Okay. So only in built-in you can change things. In repository, you will have to either update it or you will have to change it. Okay. Now let's quickly do the same thing for this piece, Excel also. Okay, I can just right click and deactivate current subjob also. That will deactivate everything. I'll come back to my Excel. So for the file delimited, this is the metadata section. For Excel, this is the metadata section. I'll again create a new Excel. Okay, again, I'll give some name. I think I'll give employee. I'll go next. I'll again choose the file. This is my file. I'll click open. This time, right? See, Talent automatically clicks on this because it understands that yes, this is an XLSX file. Right? Now you have to choose which sheet you have to work with. So I have to, let's say, start working with employee sheet. So I'll choose that. I'll go ahead next. Here, right, you don't need to worry about delimiter and stuff because there is no delimiter kind of thing in Excel. All you need to worry about is the row that you need to have, right? So this row I need to have as the header, right? So I'll just click on that and see. Once I click on this, right, this automatically creates it to 1. And that's actually true because my first row is my header, right? So now all I need to do here is come here and just refresh it. So once I refresh it, I will be able to see my data properly. But if you see, right, it's reading these extra columns and I don't want it to read that. So what I will say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. The 4 columns I need. The last column is 4. If I now refresh it again, those extra columns will be gone. Okay, so sometimes Talent makes mistakes. So don't just directly depend on Talent, guys. Like this mistake, right? It did. If I remove this and if I refresh it, Talent thinks that, okay, there were more columns here. Why it thinks that, God only knows, but yeah, it thinks. So something I might have added some data here and then removed it. Okay, so that's why it says that. But now we have ways, so 1, 2, 3, 4 to 4 columns. And then if we refresh it, it will take only 4. And then I can click on next. Okay, so if you see the header is also fine, the data is also fine, and I can go and do next. So once I do next, it will have the things ready for me. Okay, I can give some name here. And again, right, see, it understood that this is integer, this is string, and this is string. Right, but this again is based on top sum records. So always make sure for name columns or some text columns, please increase the length. Even for these, right, employee ID now it cannot go beyond 99. because its limit is S2, right? So you have to make sure that you give proper limit there also. So 8 or something, right? Integer limit that you can give. Even the department ID, so there cannot be more than 99 department as per me also. So I'll give that only 2. But yes, there can be like 10 departments and 12 departments, right? So you need 2-digit number. So that you set and then you say finish. Okay, so once you do that, this gets created. You can drag and drop it same way that you did for the file. Now you want input Excel, so you'll choose input Excel. Now everything here is already set and at repository level. Right? If you see here also it's repository and here also it's repository. Okay. Now all I need to do is just put tlog row and my job will run. Right? I'll choose the table for easy view. I'll connect this with main. Right, and I'll run this. Yep, we got our data. Is it clear, guys, for everyone? Anyone, any questions?
Yes, tell you, like, can you explain a little bit what is exactly T-log row?
Nothing. It just displays the output in the log section. So this is nothing but your log section you can call, right? It's telling you, right? See here, it tells you that the job is starting. It tells you this is your job is ending. So if you want to put output onto this run window, right? For that you use tlog row. And during our classes, right, to prove things, right? See, I am telling you that that's it, right? All the settings that I need to do for the extract I have done here. But will you go by my word? No, right? You need to see the proof. So what is the proof? I can run this. Right now I'm not loading it anywhere, right? We are just doing the extract piece. So yes, my job is able to extract it. How can I prove it? I can use tlog row. So this is the component that is majorly used for testing purposes, right? You read data from somewhere and in your big jobs, right? You keep log row in between so that you come to know, okay, the data is flowing well. If the data is coming till this point, right? Yes, then the things are right. After this point, you do some actions and then again you put a tlog row just to see that, okay, yes, now after this point also, the data is flowing well. So this way you can check your data basically. So this is nothing but a testing kind of a component which helps you to see the data during the flow of the job. Okay. So for us, how we are using it, we are using it to just print the output on the console so that we can see that right away here that, okay, yes, our job was able to read the data. It's just nothing but logging your rows in the output. That's it.
So T-log row cannot be used as a table or a flat file, right?
No. There are different components for that.
Okay.
So when I teach you the load section, right? Like when we come to right now, we are just doing the extract piece. Then we will do some of transformations. After that, when I teach you to load into files and databases, right? That time you can do that. Even if you remember in the class of the demo class, right? I loaded the data into an Excel file. You remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Correct. So in that way,
Yeah.
I was able to create my output and store it into an Excel, but
Okay,
not on a log.
yes, I got it. Okay. So
Okay.
it should be like it T output something, right? Okay.
Correct. Yes. So if you want as a file, it will be T file output delimited or T file output something, right? From these output components you are going to use. If it is a DB, then it is going to be TDB output.
I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
It will be out of topic, like out of this class topic. So example, like I am loading XML file, 50 XML file one after another, and some files is really large, like size. Okay, size of the file is really large, so some files is taking 2 hours. So for that, how we can improve the performance into the Talend Open Studio for the file loading?
I mean, again, right, this is really out of context here, but Yes, what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
do is actually you can split the file beforehand before performing for those kind of scenarios. So as we go through this process, right, I'm going to teach you some components like trow count. Okay, so what that does is it actually counts the number of rows that are present in your file. So based on
Okay.
the row count of that file, right, you can
Mhm.
decide the flow of your job. So let's say if your row count of the file is more than 1 million, you can do a different type of task where you are going to split your file into 2 or 3 sections and then run the job parallel. Okay,
Okay.
that way you're dividing the task and then doing it. And let's say if your job file size is less than 1 million, then you are just going to directly process the job without doing any parallel or splitting of that file. Because when you split the file, you are adding some more actions to it, right? So, I mean,
So,
there are
okay.
scenarios, ways that you can handle it, but there is no like hard and fast rule that you do this and then that will improve it. It's just you have to use some tricks and plays here and there, basically.
So basically, like you are doing a kind of partitioning, right? Into
Correct.
that.
Slice and dice. So we'll slice the
Yeah.
files
Okay.
and then we will load it if the data count is huge.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so cool then, guys. So that's basically it for today.